All right, here we go, folks. New canvas for an old camp chair. I don't know, there's something about this old camp chair I just picked up recently and I really liked it. It's got this ripped canvas on it. I thought I could put some new canvas on. You know, who knows what stories this old chair could tell sitting around a campfire, maybe eating some baked potatoes or something. But I tell you, I did have a lot of good time when I was in Scouts, New Jersey, Camp Alamucci, sitting around those fires, singing old camp songs on chairs like this right here, right? I remember one night we were singing the theme to Gilligan's Island around the campfire, right? There once was a mighty sailing ship, the skipper brave and sure, 3 passengers, no, I don't know how many passengers. Anyway, I like this old camp chair. We're gonna fix it up here today, put some new canvas on. I got this heavy weight canvas right here. So let's pull this off. Let's do a little operation, cut something out, sew it up, put it on this chair, and see if we can get this back in action. Okay, let's take a closer look at the construction of this. Looks like we've got some nice oak legs on this. All right, here is our old canvas, and looks like some wooden dowels through the top. And look how this is held in. If we fold this canvas back, this is like a piece of wood. It's notched in here like a little dado there. And we got a little piece of wood just with some nails. There's also, if we pull this back far enough, there is a nail holding this on in the center. Right, see that nail in there? I don't know how they got to that. Maybe we can pull the canvas back that far, or maybe I'm going to do a different way of putting this together. What's going on over here? Yeah, getting some rest? Okay, perhaps with some luck, we can just pry this out, right? We got the screwdriver pry tool. Oh, that's actually coming right out. Look at that. Oh yeah, boy, that's coming out nice and easy. I was thinking maybe, let's see how this center one goes though. This one, yeah, right? This might be the tricky one. I'm sure this stuff, yeah, it's gonna crack out, right? I plan on cutting new pieces anyway here. You know, who knows when this was last nailed in there, you know, 1918 or something. This chair does seem pretty darn old. Yeah, that's the way to do it right there. Get in here with these little side cutters. I've always called these dikes. Look at this pair right here. What does it say here? Peri, P-E-R-I, Italy. Right? I don't know if I know that brand, Peri, Italy. I just grabbed these out of the drawer. All right, there we go. There's the size of our canvas. I was actually thinking of making it just a hair wider. It might splay the legs out a little bit more, but it would be a little bit bigger seat to sit on. All right, here is our canvas. This is some nice heavyweight canvas. I think this is number 8. Let's go 17. Yeah, we're just making this up here on the fly. 17, and then let's add an inch here on either side. So for a nice hem. So this looks like, so 13 5/8. So 13 5/8. And then with our mighty Wiss shears, not scissors, all right, our Wiss shears, they just cuts like butter. All right, and for protective unraveling measures of the highest order, we're going to put this onto the overlock machine and wrap our edges. Two inches in, and we're gonna fold this over. Just a couple of clips on here, and then I'm gonna flip this over and stitch it. Today we've got some Tex 135 thread in the Consew 206 RB, the old mighty machine here. Let's see, I didn't check the bobbin. Hopefully we've got some thread in the bobbin. I'm just eyeing up with the screw here on the side to get a nice straight stitch. We'll do a couple of back stitches here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It could have been black thread, a little contrast, but I like that. I like the white. Okay, back in here we line up with our screw. We're going to do a little back stitch. Oh, look at that. We ran out of thread in the bobbin right at the end. Always check the bobbin is the name of the game. I didn't check the bobbin, and of course we run out right in the middle. But we'll come over here to the bobbin winder. Do a back stitch there. Okay, after many months of testing, we've come upon this 1/4 x 1/4 oak with this copper nail. This won't rust out. It's got a ring shank on it. I've used these before when you're weaving shingles on a corner of a house. That's why I have a bunch of those old copper nails. But we're gonna drill through this 1/4 inch. And I think instead of 3, we're gonna do 4 nails. And this little copper nail passes right through that hole nicely. We got the ring shank. Okay, I think, right, we got our canvas here. That's gonna fold over the top. We've got our oak. I think the preferred method here, I think it's going to be, let's see, yeah, I can push that in, but I think it's going to be more like this with a clamp, some clamping pressure. This first attempt at clamping the 1/4 x 1/4 oak in there was a no-go. You know, this new canvas is a lot thicker than that old canvas. So I decided to go over to the table saw and widen out the groove on the chair itself. I'd rather widen the groove out than make that 1/4 x 1/4 oak any smaller. It's getting pretty thin as it is. All right, I'm just dropping a nail into the top of this dowel here. That will keep that from pulling off. I did put a little thin CA glue down into this joint, but now I'm adding a nail before I put the canvas on. Yeah, inch and a quarter, inch and a quarter. Get this lined up so it looks somewhat square. We'll drop our piece in now. Maybe I'll pre-drill this one here. That is nice. Another little pre-drill right here. Copper nail. Okay, now we want to flip this over. Bring this like this. Now this is gonna be, this is the tricky one, is to get this one to line up in here just right. This one I think we're gonna try without the clamps. We're just gonna go for it with our copper nail. Not even pre-drilling now, we're just winging it. Fold this back enough. Oh, look at that. I think we can. That is awesome. Right there. Look at that. That is great. Flip this around this way. You know, just a little simple chair project turns into a big ordeal, I tell you. All right, let's see what we got. Marshmallows by the campfire. Right? Bring this out to the fire. This thing just cracks in half and you just throw it into the fire. No, that is looking sharp there with the new canvas. You know, this oak probably is a little bit old and brittle. If not for the courage of the fearless crew, the minnow would be lost. The minnow would be lost. All right, let's give this a test here. The old campfire chair by the fire here. All right, so far, I don't hear any snap, crackle, pop. The oak isn't twisting and cracking up. This has got to be a really old chair, but hey, there we go. All right, that's pretty cool. It would be cool to make a few more of these oak chairs. Oh, here is the cat here to pay us a visit. Check out the new chair. All right, right on, folks. There we go. Old canvas chair, old to new. New canvas, sewing shop, campfire, summertime. I hope you guys are having a great summer. You ever watch that YouTube show, Camping with Steve? This guy's camping in all these weird spots, you know, like stealth camping. He made a trailer out of pallets. He's sleeping in the back. The guy is sleeping in these roundabouts. Anyway, I don't know. I got onto that show. Kind of a fun show to binge watch and check him out in all these stealth camping spots. One spot he's camping in the back of a dump truck on the side of the highway. Anyway, all right, right on, folks. Again, like I said, I hope you guys are having a great summer, and I'll see you all soon. All right, right on. Happy camping. The minnow would be lost. The minnow would be lost. Right on, folks. This episode of Camping with John is brought to you by the letter S for subscribe, and it's also brought to you by the letter C for comment. Maybe drop a comment down below. Maybe tell me your favorite place that you've ever been camping. I gotta say, Mount Rainier is one of my favorite spots to go camping. I worked up there for a summer. What a beautiful place. If you haven't been there, put that on the docket and visit Mount Rainier National Park.